Hi, and welcome back to Your Future, Your Finances. I'm again your host, Brian Kuhn. We're talking with Charles Reichelt of John Hancock Retirement Planning Services. Before we were talking about the retirement planning space. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about some major changes in retirement planning and how it works with the Department of Labor ruling that just came out over the last couple months. So tell us a little bit about what it is and concerns or thoughts that employers should have to comply with it.
Well, the most important thing is the retirement readiness of employees. And ERISA, which is the body of law that established in '74, which established all these plans, actually states that the plan must be for the benefit of plan participants. As plan fiduciaries, the employer who sponsors the plan is required to make sure this is the case. So I think that investment selection and monitoring is one of the biggest fiduciary concerns that any employer should have. They have to do their due diligence and ensure that they are selecting investment options that are appropriate for retirement plans, but they also have to have reasonable fees based on investment objectives. Financial representatives like yourself have traditionally assisted with this piece, but the recent Department of Labor regulations are looking at the industry and asking if financial representatives are working in their client's best interest. A bigger question may be, will the financial advisor be willing to become an investment fiduciary to the plan, essentially have some skin in the game? One other thing that employers need to be cautious about is conflicts of interest when it comes to the actual plan itself. I believe that our company, John Hancock, is conflict-free provider in the business right now, and we're very proud of that fact.
So what did DOL do, and what was their goal? What were they trying to accomplish?
In the final regulation, the Department of Labor streamlined the rules and exemptions that were proposed effective April of 2015. The final rule has reduced the compliance burden significantly on firms while maintaining this enforceable best interest standard in the industry. Specifically, there are changes to the time frame, exemptions to the definition of what a fiduciary actually means, and updates to the best interest contract exemption. The Department of Labor's fiduciary regulation seeks to require more retirement advisors, just like yourself, to put their clients' best interests first by expanding the types of retirement investment advice covered by fiduciary protections. We at John Hancock, my company, are very well positioned in light of these regulations. The Department of Labor is actually codifying the need to put the participant first, something we have always done and something we're deeply committed to doing. We've always believed that retirement plans should be for the benefit of participants and their beneficiaries. And we are helping them realize the retirement future they've promised themselves.
So if an employer is hearing this or reading the news and they want to look into either starting a plan or making sure they're following all the rules, what do they need to do?
So the next steps, in order for us to provide some insight, we generally request some census data, things like date of birth, date of hire, what we call gross compensation, hours worked, and any ownership data on a plan. We would then ask them to complete a very short questionnaire on their goals and objectives for the plan and ask to review their 408 B as in boy 2 disclosure. If they already have a plan set up, from there we would work with them to determine which of our product offerings would best suit their needs, customizing the solution to their individual demographics and plan goals.
Okay, good. Switching gears, there was a topic that we were talking about last time that I think really affects a lot of people, so I want to bring it up again. There's a term now in the retirement industry called a target date fund.
Correct.
So what again is a target date fund for anybody who's watching? And this is for the investor standpoint, not necessarily the employer, although the employer could be in it as well.
Correct. This is more for from the employee standpoint. In target date funds, there are a couple of different philosophies. Some focus on getting the participant to retirement. Others try to build portfolios that take the employee through retirement. These are managed differently, but generally they differentiate only becoming at the years that the person gets closer to retirement. Both are age-based, meaning they take the individual's current age and date at which they plan to retire, and they create what's called a glide path to get them to that point in time. These glide paths move from a portfolio that's heavily invested in equities or stocks, and as the person gets closer to retirement, they become more invested in bonds and fixed income.
And it might be, it would be important to know, I guess, whether your plan uses a to retirement or a through retirement, because the allocation can be very different, I suppose.
Correct. We found that with a lot of employers, the more conservative the employer is and the more conservative the employee is, The 2 option is typically more effective. For those employers that have a more, I'll say, aggressive base, maybe a younger population, the through option is typically what's used. And again, it's up to the advisor, it's up to the client ultimately, but general trends, that's what we see.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you very much for appearing on the show. We're talking with Charles Reichelt of John Hancock Retirement Planning Services on both the 401k and how it works, as well as some changes coming down from the Department of Labor that's going to affect employers and employees, the entire industry, really. You're watching Your Future, Your Finances. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm your host, Brian Kuhn.